Are we live?
We're in the process. Wait, why does it say the video is private? What's going on? Are we live? I think we're live.
Oh, I should check.
It says we are. Oh, but I don't. Oh, here it is. Yeah, we're live. I should probably mute this though. Is there sound?
Sound for our live broadcast.
Oh yeah, we're cool.
We're
We're
hoping.
live. Oh my
We're
god.
hoping for sound.
Oh my god, we're live.
I see us.
You see us?
Wait, do we have sound? I'm gonna check.
I think so.
Yup. We're all
I,
set.
I like that we have to like test this every single time.
Well,
Like we can't ever just start and be confident that our stream's working. It
there's
always has.
always
There's always a question.
there's always a question. That's why we covered that X-Files theme, because one of the things that they say is question everything, and that's what we
Yes,
do all the time.
we
Not
question our streams.
we question our streams.
Questionable streams.
So I don't want to show you. I don't want to show you my screen, but I want to play.
Anita says it's not there. What is she talking about? Oh, it's there. Okay. Sorry. Yep. Yes. What are you saying?
Just
What are
I'm
you
trying to
talking
play.
about here?
I'm trying to play our theme song,
Oh, our theme song. Yes. All right.
but
Theme away.
I just gotta I gotta figure out whether or not I'm actually sure because I don't want to do the. I told you how embarrassed I was, our last time,
Wait, why were you embarrassed last time?
because everybody saw my desktop.
Oh yeah,
But
the Spock thoughts. Are you ready to share what Spock thoughts are? I've been thinking about it for
I can
weeks.
I can share. Spock thoughts is before we play our theme song. This is important. I'm glad you brought this up. I've been
Yes.
meaning
Let's hear about Spock thoughts.
to address this. Spock Thoughts is Leonard Nimoy's reading of the Max Ehrman poem Desirita, and
Oh,
he made like he just reads this poem over this sort of like chintzy, cool late '60s sunshine pop, and Spock Thoughts, the file on my desktop is the vocal separated out so that I can layer other songs underneath it. It's a project I'm working
got
on.
it. I was kind of hoping it was gonna be like
Boy,
that's
my
what you
thoughts
call
on
your
Spock.
like. I thought it was going to be your journal or something, and that's just what you call it, Spock thoughts.
When I'm being like highly logical, when I'm
Yeah,
really
like Spock
thinking it
thoughts
out.
with Jason P. Woodbury.
That's actually we've been meaning to announce this. Is we've got a new Wastoid spinoff every morning from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Tune in for Spock Thoughts with Jason Woodbury, only on Wastoids.
It's not a bad idea.
Wait, I'm gonna try to really play this song now,
Okay,
and I don't think that the volume is gonna be too loud, but we'll find out. Do you hear that?
it's, it's the exact opposite. Actually, it's very quiet. There we go. That's good. I like that.
All right,
Dig
there we
it.
go. We got it. We got the song.
Dig it.
Click Vortex, and
I
it
never
worked
get. I
for the
never
most part.
get. And that signals the official start of the show. All the prep,
Uh
all
huh.
the Spock thoughts, all the is this working?
That's
Once
just
you hear
it.
that, we're live. We're really live
Look at
at
that.
that point.
We got a bunch of people.
Do we? I don't. Oh, I don't. I'm just realizing I don't see our. I don't
Anita
see our.
says that she was busy watching the Apple event with her new iPhone. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Cool. Deco Deloy saying what up?
Oh, we got Tommy K in here.
Tommy K in the casa. I
Cool.
don't know why.
Well, what's up?
Not
Oh, this
much.
looks weird. I'm like, I just opened this so I could see the chat, and I realized that on YouTube I'm like reversed from what I'm seeing on. Why does it always look? Let's talk about that for a second. Why do you look
What
so weird when you're flipped?
when you say you don't mean me specifically. You mean the royal you. Everybody. Why do we look
Yeah, it's
so
like
weird?
I'm looking at you
Mm-hmm.
facing one direction, and I'm
Right.
looking at you facing the other direction, and you look normal to me no matter what, because sort of seeing you how I'm used to seeing you.
Yeah.
But when you see yourself flipped, it's very strange.
Yeah,
It looks incredibly alarming, like something's wrong. I feel like half of my face is blown off, or my head looks all wonky.
I mean, that's probably why a lot of times when people are on Zoom, they just want to turn the camera off, right? If
Yeah,
you
I'm
end
gonna
up
turn my
looking at,
camera off for the rest of this one. Is
it's
that
just
cool?
me. It's
Yeah,
just you, the disembodied voice.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, I know exactly what you're talking about, though. It is a very weird
I'm popping out chat so I don't have to look at myself here anymore. There we go.
simulacrum. Maybe that's what you'd call it. I don't know.
Simulacrum.
Yeah, that's one of my Spock thoughts.
That sounds
I'm
like a
gonna
Spock
pop.
thought to me.
I'm gonna pop this chat out too, and I've done so. Look at that.
Look at that. Pop that. You pop that chat out.
Pop that chat out. Well, thanks for hanging out with us, guys, here on Click Vortex. It is at the time of our recording, September 12th, and that means that this Friday, September 15th,
Banshire
is.
Day.
You've heard it once. You've heard it twice. You've heard it maybe 3 times. Banshire Day.
Banshire Day.
Banshire Day. September 15th. Sam has left. He's probably heading to a Banshire Day celebration as we speak. What were you getting?
Oh, it's green, so you can't see it.
Well,
Oh, there it is. Oh,
absolutely.
there it is.
There
Kind
it
of.
is.
Banshire
There it is.
Day.
Banshire Day.
What is Banshire Day? Hey, maybe you can scan that QR code. I wonder if that'll work.
I
No,
have.
not
Do
quite.
you want me to try to scan
Yeah,
it?
try it. Let's see.
Okay, let's see. Bring
See if,
it. Bring it up. Let's see what we can do here.
nope, nope.
I
Does it
don't
work? It
know.
doesn't seem to
Let's
be in
see.
focus very well.
It's having trouble focusing. I'm trying to bring it.
Yeah. I'm glad you can't see my weird thumbs. Anita says I have weird thumbs, and she's right.
This is
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't work. Whatever. Just go to bansherday.com. That's pretty easy.
Banshire Day, or you know what? You can also go over to wastoids.com and listen to the Banshire Day podcast. We made a little special for you. And when I say for you, I mean just for you, the listener, right
Yep.
now. Made a little
Yep,
Banshire
yep,
Day.
yep.
It's really, really fun. Dylan Getty King.
Yeah, that just
The
doesn't work. It's really good at getting rid of me.
best.
Sorry, I am paying attention despite the fact that I'm highly distracted.
I believe somebody said it's pixelated. Perhaps that means that's what the QR code was pixelated. My phone couldn't get it, but anyway,
QR
yeah,
codes are just sort of pixelated in nature anyway.
that's true. That is true. But BanshirtDay.com has all your info, and the Wastoids, you can find the Banshire Day podcast. We talked with Steve DePace from Flipper about how Kurt Cobain drew their logo. He made his own Flipper shirts and wore them all over the place. And
What a guy.
Ended up making Flipper's logo like a household name in the band shirt world. We've also got Bill Mooney from Kung Fu, who told us about screen printing on Red Cross's Dirty Laundry. It was so much fun talking with those guys.
So great.
To me, it really
I love old
hits.
stories of the old guys.
I just love that these guys, and it's so funny because Bill, you can find merch that Bill's company makes in all sorts of stores, but they just started doing shit for fun, and that's what
Yep.
started. I'm sure you related hearing that because you kind of started doing Hello merch just for fun for the most part, right?
I kind of did, yeah. I just was like, man, I really miss getting emails. I should start something that's gonna get me more emails.
Sam's got one desire in life, and it's not the kind of emails. That's not important.
I just wanted
the
stuff to
sheer
do.
amount. You wanted the sheer volume of emails.
I wanted to feel loved. I only feel loved if my inbox is full. Then my heart is full.
Did you? How soon into forming Hello Merch did it take you to feel loved and feel fulfilled by Hello Merch? Did it happen right away?
It was pretty quick. It was a couple months probably.
No, it's pretty good.
And then I was
Pretty
like,
good.
I've made a huge mistake. Just kidding.
And then
It's been a great 15 years, coming up on 16.
I can't believe that Hello Merch is going to be old enough to drive.
Almost, yeah. Almost.
Almost old enough to drive.
I think it's about to get its learner's permit. Can you hear that weird like clicking? Sorry if I'm like randomly adjusting my cloud lifter.
I didn't hear it. We just had a plane fly over though, and as Anita has said, nobody can hear those, so I'm not going to comment on it.
Okay.
I won't comment on the airplane that flew over.
Well, I won't comment on my weird clicking. It's like that cell phone, like I hear it very loudly and it's super annoying. And if I touch this cloud lifter, if you have one of these microphones, everybody knows what this is.
Yeah.
if I just touch that, it seems to go away. Some kind of, grounding thing.
Do you think that the guys at Shure who make the microphones that we use, and by the way, we're not name checking them because they sponsor the show or anything. Nobody sponsors the show, that's for
No,
sure. But
we
do you
will not
think
bow down to any corporate sponsors.
that factors into my clicks a little bit? Actually,
Hey,
now
mine
that you
too.
say that, really?
Well, sort of.
Well, okay,
Are we
so
gonna? We might be talking about. I mean, we're in a very tiny box here, and
we,
what we're talking about.
so Sam and I the other day, did we finish talking about band shirt day? Did
No,
I have
probably
it?
not. So band shirt day is Friday, September 15th. Wear your band shirt day on Friday, September 15th.
That's right.
Uh,
Hashtag band shirt day when you
this
wear it.
this thing that I have, let's just go over it real quick. Band Shirt Day is an annual fundraising initiative bringing artists around the world together to sell merchandise on their official sales channels and donate proceeds to organizations of their choice. So
It
is it clear what Band Shirt Day is now?
it's clear to me.
So, you can donate to the Band Shirt Day Fund. That's at gofundme.com/Band Shirt Day, or you can just find that at bandshirtday.com. Yeah, wear your band shirt on Friday and use hashtags and tag us and stuff. And this is the second year we did it. We're gonna do it next year and every year after that
Until we die.
until the emails stop coming in.
Until the emails stop coming in. I'm really looking forward to hanging out with you on Band Shirt Day.
Oh yeah, and you're gonna be out here in New York
Come to New York. Maybe
with
we'll.
Dylan.
It's with Dylan, host of the Band Shirt Day podcast. I can't wait. I'm really psyched.
DGK.
And I've got a number of, that I have a standard life uniform that I adhere to most of the time,
Yeah,
but I will not be wearing, because it's not a band shirt. I have a selection of shirts. I haven't decided yet which ones
I
to
told you one time I almost printed a Hello Merch shirt on a
green
green polo,
green
right? Like button
Oxford.
up. Yeah,
Green Oxford.
yeah.
That's eventually, I mean,
We're gonna have to do that for you.
it's coming up. I adopted this weird affect about 2 years ago now, I think, is what or maybe not 2 years. I don't know. It's been a little bit.
Tommy wants to know if you can wear a band shirt while attending the concert for the band. So that's what,
Oh,
wearing the shirt to the show, being that guy, as some say. I think you can. I think that that's very. I would say when we were growing up, maybe it was a little dorky, but I think it's fully accepted now. Actually, I think if you wear, I think you're kind of cool. I think you're sort of rebellious if you wear the shirt to the show.
I think it's cool. I like doing what you're not supposed to do one way or the other in
Yeah,
terms of fashion. So you should wear the band's shirt to their own concert, especially if you have like a cool one. Especially if you have a cool one that like proves that you have been into the band longer than other people. That's the main thing you want to do, right? You want to kind of one up everybody else there. So
yeah.
if you've got an
I think
old
it's
shirt,
cool. It's. I like it. I would say if I was on stage looking down at a sea of people wearing my band shirts, I would be very pumped.
you'd make fun of each one of them
Yeah,
from
but if they were all
stage.
wearing
You'd
Fallout Boy
mock
shirts,
them.
I'd be like, what's up? What's going on here?
Do you ever think about how Fallout Boy is considered like classic rock to kids now? It's true.
No, no, I
I
don't.
think I
I
think
don't
it's
I don't
true.
want to think that. Is that true? I guess that's
Yeah,
true.
Fallout Boy are the Led Zeppelin of their age. Avril Lavigne is the Joni Mitchell of her age, or maybe she was the Olivia Rodrigo of her age. I don't know. There's a lot happening these days. There's a lot happening in that field.
Yeah. We're getting old, that's for sure.
But you know how old we may be old, but we're not as old
We
as what we're going to talk about today on the show.
no.
Awkward.
And this is an era we haven't really covered a lot on
No,
Click Vortex.
people are constantly saying, I just wish I could listen to you guys talk about some music from the 1960s. That would be
Yeah.
important.
And why is that? Why do we love the 60s so much? Is it because I mean, that was like the golden age of there would be no Olivia Rodrigo without 1960 something.
Yeah, I think the 60s, you know, the 50s, 60s, I think that's when, a lot of these modern forms that we recognize as cool were born. But here but we decided to go real granular this time. Sometimes
I put
every
it,
now and
yeah.
then, yeah, every now and then we are like, well, we're going to talk about a specific year, But this time, not only did we pick a year, we zoomed in on 1 month in that year,
I
right?
put it in an actual random date generator that I found on the internet, and it came up with April 1968.
April
I
1968.
think
So
it
it was
gave a
purely
day
random.
also. It was purely random. It also gave a day. It was actually anytime. I said anytime in the 1900s at all. And it gave me April 1968. So it too likes the
Wow.
60s. It was April 21st, 1968 is actually the date that it gave us. We didn't get that compressed. We just said, look, let's just do April 68.
We might have had some trouble finding stuff enough for that one
I'm
specific date,
pretty
but
close. The first thing I'm going to talk about is pretty close to the 21st, but not quite.
I think you are gonna kick us off and get started.
Oh, I am. Am I first?
Should we dive in? I think you're first,
Okay, well
or
then let
am I
me.
first?
I don't know. I
When did
think I'm.
CC
Would we
the
do that?
last
What was the last one we did?
we did
I can't even remember.
or maybe I think you go first.
I'll go. Who cares? I'll go first. I'll go first
Well,
in it. Whatever,
look at
whatever it
that.
is.
We've got somebody immediately bringing up Odyssey and Oracle by the Zombies, which
Well,
pretty
okay.
good.
Let's talk Odyssey and Oracle. I was going to talk about something else. I wasn't going to talk about the zombies, but hey, let's talk about the zombies. I love the zombies.
I just noted for sure. I decided because I feel like we maybe have talked about Odyssey and Oracle on the podcast at one point or another
We
to
have.
find other materials. But that said, I don't think you're gonna get any argument from the two of us that
I,
that's one of the best albums of the
I
60s.
I had Odyssey and Oracle as like a backup because we have talked about it a few times, but I feel like there's a lot to pull from that record, and so I have a few stats here we can go over Odyssey and Oracle.
Let's hear
Um,
it.
yeah,
Loot the
so
body. That's who suggested we mention it.
I mean, let's start with the spelling of Odyssey. So loot the body there with Odyssey. The Odyssey's not spelled right technically,
Right.
but that's how it ended up, and the reason it ended up like that is because the designer of the album cover, Terry Quirk, spelled it wrong.
He just had
Spelled it
very quirky spelling.
Yeah, spelled it Odessey instead of Odysssey. And the band was just like, look, that's what we wanted to do. So deal with it. All right. Which wasn't actually true, but they didn't want to change it. And probably because they funded the whole, this is another cool little stat here. So they got dropped by Decca and put out this record, or they recorded it with on their own dime, and then CBS put it out in the UK, and Date Records put it out in the US ultimately. But um, a couple cool little things about this. Do you know where they recorded this record?
Did they do it at Abbey Road?
They did. They did it at Abbey Road, and they used the exact same Studer 4-track that the Beatles used for Sergeant Pepper, which is why it sounds so good. Um, Another cool little fact about this track. Let's see if you can you hear me? Can you hear this?
Hear what? I can hear that. Yeah.
You can hear it now. All right, cool.
Uh-huh.
Have you ever heard this song before? Ever heard this little ditty?
About to get booted off YouTube right now.
Yeah, no, you can do music, right? You just can't do video.
We usually do okay with music. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
beautiful.
same Mellotron. Loot the Body says same Mellotron, and that is a fact.
Smart
Um,
move. Smart move.
Time of the season that you can hear on this record, the version the take that they used was actually the first take. And if you're listening to this on Thursday when it's released, September 14th, that actually is the 56th anniversary to the day of when that song was recorded, September 14th, 1967.
That song is getting
1967.
the song and dates that we're mentioning are getting decoyed to
Yeah.
hot.
It's getting sweaty. It's getting sweaty over there. Oh yeah.
It is a pretty sexy jam.
It's a sexy jam, and do you know why?
Why is it sexy?
It's got that cool call and response vocal.
Yeah.
The vocal take itself is just very like I mean, we love Colin Blunstone here at Click Vortex. The dude's voice is very buttery,
We're,
but
we're yeah.
it's extra smooth. It's extra smooth on this one. He's got a vibe going on this one that gets Chris all hot and bothered.
Get it.
Uh, Lots of animosity when they recorded this track. Actually, Colin or Rod Argent wrote this one, and he wrote many of them. Um, and Colin was not happy with the instructions on how Colin wanted him to sing, or Rod wanted him to sing it, and he actually said, "Listen, Rod, why don't you sing this one yourself, buddy?" And walked out on it, and then ultimately ended up coming back and singing it exactly how Rod wanted him to sing it. And the result was, the history, which we did go over in this. I don't know how many episodes ago, so I won't go too deep into it. But basically, this came out. A lot of people actually really loved this record. Some critics really loved this record, but they just weren't making enough money, so they broke up after the first two singles. I think actually, Time of the Season was the third single, the final single on this record, and they broke up sort of as they released the third single, and then a few months later it caught on and it got really big, and they by that time they were just like, you know what, screw it, we're not going to get back together, this sucks. So that's when the fake zombies bands came out. We talked about that. Go back and find that somewhere, probably I'm going to guess episode 18, 19, 20ish, somewhere around there maybe.
I think that sounds about right, but you know, you just have to wander back. The zombies.
You're just going to
I
have to
know
find it.
because we had a lot of fun talking about that, but yeah, that's a great song, and it was a pretty good month for records. But where does your clicks lead you in this sort
Actually,
of?
since I have such great notes, episode 7 is
I
where
was
we talk about the zombies.
I was going to say episode 8.
Wow, look at
For
you.
real, I was gonna say it, but
And
I
it
was
looks like
like,
they were mentioned again in episode 22. Lots of zombies here. Um, yeah, but one last note on the zombies.
oh yeah,
I just found out that Robert Schwartzman, Jason Schwartzman's brother, and the dude from a band called Rooney, he released a documentary this year called "Hung Up on a Dream" about the zombies, which I didn't know about and I haven't seen it, but I guess it debuted at South by Southwest and looks cool. I want to see it.
I haven't seen it, but I hear it's really good.
Yeah, I'm sure it's great, and they're in it, which is always fun. Um,
That's a
but yeah,
cool,
anyway,
it's a cool crew. Cool.
it's a cool crew. So the I didn't want to go too obscure. I like to go obscure sometimes, but one I wanted to talk about, which I don't. Tell me how you feel about this duo, Simon and Garfunkel.
Oh, I like Simon and Garfunkel, but I'm not. I, I've never been like a dedicated enough fan. My musical partner, Dadweed, is
Yeah,
maybe the world's biggest Art Garfunkel fan, which is an
I
interesting.
like Art
And
Garfunkel too.
you and Zach would really have a nice time talking about some of those Art Garfunkel records. I like some of Paul Simon's solo stuff. I mean, I guess I'm a Graceland guy, and I like the one with
Is it
other.
Graceland or Graceland? Have we talked about this before?
Well, he says Graceland, doesn't he? Like, yeah,
Yeah, but
we're
then I feel
going
like
to
people always
Graceland.
refer to it as Graceland.
Yeah, that feels to me like if you're talking about where Elvis lived, you can say Graceland. But if you're talking about the album, you gotta say Graceland. That's how you can tell the difference.
I guess.
But no, I like Simon and Garfunkel, but I was never obsessed. What did they put out this month, this year,
They put
19?
out in on April 5th, or I'm sorry, on April 3rd, they put out the album Bookends.
Hmm,
And the big single from that was Mrs. Robinson, which is
I like that
probably
song.
what the song that most people know, at least in this generation,
If not, yeah, Bridge
right? I
Over
mean,
Troubled Water probably doesn't have a lot of purchase with the youth.
Bridge Over
I don't
Troubled
know.
Water, that was a pretty heavy art song, right? Like, wasn't that kind of his jam? Did he write that one? I'm not sure.
I
Let's
honestly,
ask let's ask Dad Weed. I don't know. I always felt like that was more of an art one. But yeah, they were I mean, Simon and Garfunkel, I'm kind of in the same boat. Like I like them. Um Yeah, Tommy says it's a an album his mother owned. So I think yeah, it was kind of like that. You know, like somebody just had
Yeah,
one always. You heard
sure.
these songs around, they were on the radio, but um I wouldn't have ever really called myself like a huge fan, despite the fact that I have listened to the records, but I don't really have one that I go to frequently. And even Graceland, I would say I'm not like a super huge fan of it. It's cool. It's got some cool songs on it, but
I love that record, but I also love that Los Lobos talk so much shit about him ripping them off for their work on that album.
yeah,
I'm pro Los Lobos and I'm pro their side of the thing, but it is actually a pretty good album. And
we
he did
just
a
we
yeah.
just watched La Bamba and Los Lobos is in that movie.
I love that movie. Have long loved that movie. I think
It's a great one.
that's the movie that probably got me so hip on the Flamingos song. I only has. Oh no, is that in that? No, no, no. I'm just thinking of the Santo and Johnny song. I'm mixing it up. The Sleepwalk, which is the
Sleepwalk
best.
is in that. That's what the DJ plays when they spoiler alert, Richie Valens dies with the
Hang
Big
on,
Bopper
what?
and Buddy Holly. I don't know if you guys have heard about it. That's a good Claire audience episode.
I have been having so much nostalgia for Claire Audience lately.
Dude, it's
I've
so
been going
good. Go
back and
back and yeah, people go
I
back
was
and listen
going
to it.
back. I was going back. That was one of the very first things that I think it was in the first, like basically first round of projects that Wastoids ever did. Shout out to Ursa Lowly. Shout out to Mandy Kimes. Lane Lines is her musical project. She just put out an album. You should check it out.
Oh, really?
She did. She
That's
did
cool.
put. She did put a record out. And as Anita has wrote in here, my Richie, which is of course I'm not going to try to do the dramatic reading from La Bamba, but that's the scene that everybody
Yeah,
remembers.
and he's got the brother, and the brother's kind of a hothead loser,
Ah,
but
love
like
the
talented
brother.
artist.
So
But
good.
yeah,
Such a good. That's It's a fantastic
I
movie.
love Lou Diamond Phillips
Lou Diamond Phillips, amazing. But yeah, we did a good episode about Buddy Holly's passing, and then
in
does he
the
haunt?
rave.
Does he haunt the rave? Maybe he does.
Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. Go check it out. I don't know what episode
Check it
that
out.
was, but you can find it. Buddy Holly's on the cover somewhere. Claire
Yeah,
Audience deep in the archives of Wastoids. Buddy
yeah,
Holly's Ghost, I believe the episode's called, if I'm not
that's right.
mistaken.
It was man, that's a fun show to make, and yeah, check that one out. But it's good.
Killer writing on that show. Who wrote that show?
I don't know. I think Ursa. I think it was all
I
channeled through
I gotta
Ursa.
say, I still think that I think that'll be that was such an underappreciated show. I think someday somebody will find that and give you an award for it or something.
Well,
The good
it's
one.
fun. They'll give me the good award.
They'll give you the good one. They'll give you the good award.
Yeah.
None of that stupid shit. They'll give you something great.
I want a Webby. I
Yeah,
want a
get this
Webby.
guy a Webby.
Somebody get me a Webby for the and don't look in too closely to whether or not we properly license any of that material
Yeah,
while you're doing the Webby.
not talk about that.
Well, it's funny because we'll get there, but as always happens, Sam. We're talking about we're in the territory anyway. Go ahead.
Oh, nice.
Continue with your Simon and Garfunkel.
Okay, so I'm talking Mrs. Robinson. So Mrs. Robinson, I
Good
kind of
jam.
focused on that track because I like it. It's I was a Beatles fan. I still am. I don't know if anyone knows that about me. And
Hang
there's a
on,
little
you need to dig in on this Beatles thing. Who?
yeah, this band, the Beatles. I'm kind of into them a little bit. But there's that little you know, nod to the Beatles in there. It's the cuckoo cuckoo, Mrs. Robinson. I
Yeah.
think I feel like at least in my guitar book when I grew up, the lyrics were goo goo gajoob. I don't know what they are really, but Paul
Yeah.
Simon decided they were cuckoo cuckoo,
Yeah. That
which
sounds
I don't know what side of the fence you're on there. If you think it's goo goo gajoob or
yeah.
cuckoo
Former
cuckoo. Okay. Um.
Kajube.
Anyway, so
Be on the end of that.
I wanted to find. I mean, the thing about Paul Simon and Art Garfunkel is they are a bit obscure. They to some extent, like they were a pretty famous band, but they broke up pretty quick. even though they'd been together since they were, I think, 14 or 15 or something. They were best friends, and they started out in a group called Tom and Jerry, and then decided to change their name to their actual last names. If you didn't catch on to that part, Simon and Garfunkel, it's because his last name's Simon and Art's last name is Garfunkel.
Hmm.
Um, but I did find, so I was trying to find a live performance of this song because I knew it would probably get taken down if there was a video of this. So I'm gonna try to
Paul Simon
share.
is Paul Simon is tight bros with Lauren Michaels, who
I
I will
know
say
anything Lorne, and there's some Lorne stuff too that I had to be very careful of here. Actually,
100
coincidentally,
100% of our SNL clips have been cut from this show.
yeah,
So
exactly. So I'm gonna see. Let's see. How do I do just this? So here is I did find a clip, a rare clip of Simon and Garfunkel. You can find some in the 80s when they got back together and at some like, awards banquets and stuff later in the 90s. That's kind of dumb. But here's from the era. I think this was early 1970 and it was in France. It's just a real quick clip of this. Let's see if this works. Can you see that?
I can.
Okay, cool. Can you hear it? No, you can't. Okay, we're
Not
coming
yet.
back. We're coming back here. I forgot to do the share
It's
audio thing.
there's a number of
You can't
triple.
just share us. You can't just share something. You have to share something, and then you also have to share it with sound, apparently. So, in order for you to hear it, okay, now can you hear it?
Place where no one ever goes. Put it in your pantry with your
Paul Simon.
cupcakes.
I'm not sure what he was thinking with that haircut,
Laugh about it, shout about it when you
but
got
Garfunkel's
to.
got the killer do. So awesome.
Everywhere you look at it, you lose. Where have you gone, Joe DiMaggio? Our nation turns its lonely eyes to you.
Yeah, it's a weird haircut. I'm still kind of hung up on that.
Yeah, I found some other clips of Paul Simon talking about this song that I didn't pull. But I mean, I think what it is he's balding, you know. Oh, great. Now it's doing that thing. Dang it. Hold on.
Oh,
It's
where
doing
it's
it
still going.
where it's still going in the background. Okay, it's gone. Yeah, he's balding, but so he has this like long hair on the sides, and then it's very short on the top. And
They
it,
call
yeah,
that a
it is kind
skull
of a
hat.
comb over, but the comb over thing is strange because he cuts his bangs so short. Like they're very, 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 very short. So it's really the bangs that get me. Now, on the other hand, Art Garfunkel also going bald, but he just goes for it. He doesn't
He's
care. It
got
just
that
looks
height.
awesome. Yeah, he's
You
got the
know,
height. It looks
m-
great
height
no
in
matter
more
what.
than height in more than one area. Like, what a
He's
disparity
tall.
between the two of these guys.
Oh
Tall.
yes.
As a short king myself, it's I'm always just pulse. Here's a question for you. I don't mean to cut into
No,
your gig
please.
here, but does Paul Simon have like short guy energy? You know what short guy energy is, right?
Yeah, of course.
Where you're a little like it's clear that
You're overcompensating a
you're
bit
over. Yeah, he's
for
kind of
your
has
lack of
that,
height.
doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got a bit of a tough guy. I mean, I think they're New Yorkers, right? So he's got a little bit of a are they from New York? Did I just make that up?
I don't know.
They're from they're from San Bernardino, actually. Uh
Anita says here that Paul Simon is 5'3", and as a 5'6" guy, I
dude,
just
five
look at
three
him
is
and
pretty it's pretty
what a little
a
pipsqueak.
little twerp.
I'm gonna dunk him in a toilet.
He
I'm
is
gonna
a bit of a
bully
twerp.
him.
He probably was bullied, which is I think that's part of it too, I would imagine. Art's only 5'9". What? That's crazy because he looks like he's like 6'5".
He's bending. He has to sort of crouch to
And also like
sing into that
Paul
microphone.
Simon's like a little meaty too. He's
Mm.
he's like a little sausage. And Art Garfunkel's very tall and slender and skinny. So yeah, it is interesting. Um
Loot the Body says Napoleon is the ultimate short king, and he crowns himself. Also, I guess Jason is cool to dub himself a short king. It checks out. I wasn't trying to be cool. I promise. I was just.
yeah, only a short king would refer to himself as a short king.
I mean, I didn't
Um
take any countries like Napoleon, but
Not yet.
yeah.
There's still
Wow,
time. There's still time.
it's true.
Uh Yeah, Garfunkel's got the fro, so it probably that adds a few inches too. That helps.
It's like Batman's ears.
There's a great interview. Go find it. It's them on David Letterman in the 80s. I think this is when they got back together. I see this performance on Vivo a lot. They got back together and did a huge concert in Central Park where
Oh yeah.
they played Simon and Garfunkel tracks, but then they also did solo stuff. Yeah, Paul's from Jersey. Okay, that's what I thought. I knew they were around here somewhere. Art's from New York, Paul's from Jersey. Um,
Thank you, producer Anita.
Thank you. Yes, but there's a cool interview with them. It's kind of nice when because I don't remember the exact story, but I don't think there's a point where they weren't getting along very well.
I think it was a pretty acrimonious breakup, right?
Yeah, it
Like
wasn't great. No,
Yeah.
they were best friends, and I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that Paul Simon was writing a lot of the music, and since he's a bit of a dick, I think maybe he didn't feel like he was getting enough credit for it. But anyway,
Paul didn't. Oh,
I think so. I mean, I also might be making that up, but I think that was part of it. Um, but no, they get back together and there's a cool interview with them on Letterman. This is like the old days Letterman that I remember, the NBC Letterman, the late night
love it.
Letterman. And they both do a stupid human tricks that they both know how to juggle. And it's funny watching the two of them juggle. Anyway, this song was written for a movie called The Graduate, and that's that's obviously the Lorne Michaels SNL reference here that I can make is that it's obviously this if you've seen the Graduate, if you've seen Wayne's World 2, you'll notice something that they both end exactly the same. It's almost it's a spoof, but almost not only is it a spoof, it's like almost completely shot for shot The Graduate. The ending of The Graduate. Wayne's World 2 is.
It's one of my favorites. Is that the one where Wayne goes to like the wrong church first?
Yeah, he goes to the first Presbyterian church or something, and then he goes to the second, or he's at the second Presbyterian church or something. I would show a clip, but we would be taken to YouTube jail for it. It's great, and yeah, there's some subtle differences. Like the actor isn't that great, and he's like, "Wait, is this all we?" He's at the gas station asking for directions, and he's like, "Is this all we can get, really?" And then Charlton Heston comes in.
I love it,
and he gives him the instructions. But yeah, there's a lot of it that is it's an homage. Yeah,
to The Graduate. It's a good movie. It's a good movie too. It took me a while to watch it, but I liked it.
The Graduate.
Yeah,
it's a great movie. So this song was written specifically for The Graduate. The director Mike Nichols was obsessed with it. He was obsessed with just Simon and Garfunkel in general, and he asked Clive Davis for permission to license the music for the movie. And Paul Simon was like, "I'm not doing that. That's like selling out. That's stupid." But Clive Davis was like, "Look, just meet with this dude. He genuinely likes your music, and he really just wants some of it in this movie. Like, just see what you think." So they met up, and the quote is that Paul, "Oh, there's that train. I can hear it, so that means other people can too." So anyway, Paul Simon ended up really liking Mike Nichols' wit, and he also liked the script. So he was like, "All right, I'll do at least 2 songs for the movie." So a deal was negotiated to write some tracks for the film. Yes, man, Loot the Body has all the who is Loot the Body? Loot the Body is in my brain right now. A deal was negotiated to write 3 songs or I think it was 2. So guess how much they paid in 1968, or I guess it was 67, to negotiate Paul Simon writing tracks specifically for a movie. What would you guess? How much money?
Did they get like $10,000?
It was $25,000. I thought that was pretty low. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, yeah,
for writing songs specifically for a film,
I want to know how
even for 67, I thought that was kind of low.
Apparently, noise isolation is not tuned for train whistles. I've got bad news for you, Tommy.
Yeah, train whistles just cut through.
They cut through. You're
everything.
gonna hear it. You're gonna hear that train. No, Loot the Body. You don't have to apologize. You can scoop us all you want. You're bringing a lot of energy to the table. 25 $1,000 for 2 songs. I wonder
I
how much.
appreciate the scoop. I appreciate the scoop actually, and it's like it's more of an assist because I'm a bit of a I'm not very professional, let's just say. So it helps me. It helps actually to guide me through this process. So yeah, several weeks later, Paul emerged with 2 new tracks. I bet Lute knows what those tracks were, but it was Punky's Dilemma and a song called Overs. And Nichols was like, now I've actually been here myself, where somebody really wants you to do something for them because they like your art or your music or whatever, and then you hand it in, and they're like, yeah, actually don't like this stuff. At which point I say, well, then tough shit, I guess. And that's what Paul said too. He's like, look, dude, I don't have time. Like, I wrote 2 songs for you, kind of take it or leave it. And he's like, well, I mean, is there anything else? Do you have anything else? And he was like, well, I got this song called Mrs. Roosevelt. I guess you could maybe check that out. So he sang some of that for me. He's like, can we just change the words to Mrs. Robinson? And he was like, yeah, I guess, because same amount of syllables. It made
Yeah.
sense. It worked. So
I think the same thing happened with Will Smith's song for Men in Black. Is he just had a song ready to go and they changed the
yeah, it was the other 10 songs that he had put out before that. It's
Yeah.
he's like, I have my song. You can just
Yeah.
put
You
different
wanna
words
put the
to it.
words Men in Black in this song? Yep.
Yeah.
Done and done.
But it wasn't completely finished. He didn't have one of the verses, and that's why he just did the d d d d d d d d d d d d d. And they were like, I like it.
Pro move. I love that.
Yeah. So he's just, and he wouldn't even write the verse, and Mike Nichols was like, that's cool. I like it anyway. It sounds great. So they did that, and it was a big hit. And so it's kind of strange because that movie came out, I think, in December of '67, but the song wasn't even. Tommy says 25K in '68 is $220,000 today. See, that's why that still seems really low to me. For right. I mean, I feel like if let's just say, the Jonas Brothers were asked to write 2 or 3 songs for, a remake of Mrs. Robinson,
The Graduate.
it'd be up there. Yeah,
Yeah.
The Graduate. Thank you. It'd probably be in the millions, I would guess, right?
I don't know.
Somewhere around then. You don't know? I think so.
don't- I believe you because it sounds about right, but I feel like, do you think that back then they were like exposure? The argument about
They
how
do that
you're
now. They
getting a
still
lot of
do
it.
that. They
Well, no,
still
totally.
do.
I
They
know.
still do
Yeah.
exposure. The old exposure thing.
The only
But
problem
exposure
is
bucks don't really get you anywhere. Not always.
the only problem is now, like, there's like every movie that comes out, it's like it has to go up against every other movie that's ever been made. You know?
Yeah, and
So it's like,
Lute raises a good point that you could still make money from record sales back
That's
then. So it was a
true.
little bit different. So now you do have to overcompensate a little bit. The record industry is a bit of the short king of the entertainment world, and the I don't know where I'm going with that, but you get what I'm saying.
yeah,
People
because they're
don't
always
have
short.
exposure.
Because they're
Yeah.
always shorting the
Yeah,
artist.
yeah, exactly. Now TikTok. I mean, everything's just so weird, isn't it?
Yeah,
Let's
I
go
mean,
off on a tangent about how weird everything is instead of talking about Paul Simon.
Well, Paul Simon has a song I really like called "Everything Is Weird These Days." No, I'm just kidding. I wish he did.
So anyway, yeah. So
Yeah.
this song, it ended up, the movie had been out for a bit, but it ended up catching on, and they released it in April. So it had been out for 3 or 4 months out in the world before it was actually released. It showed up on an EP first. I think it was called the Mrs. Robinson EP, and then they ultimately ended up throwing this track on the record Bookends, and then really officially releasing the single on April 5th of 1968. And then it went on to win 2 Grammy Awards, actually, at the 11th annual Grammy Awards, which sounds crazy, in 1969. And
Wow.
one other notable thing, it became the first rock song to win Record of the Year, and it also won Best Contemporary Pop Performance. They were asked to perform at the ceremony, but declined, and instead shot a video of them romping around Yankee Stadium, I guess because of the Joe DiMaggio line. And when you're looking this up, you notice there's a lot of Yankees correlation over the years. Like you'll see Paul Simon playing this at Yankee Stadium later in like the 90s or the 2000s or something. You read about him speaking at Joe DiMaggio's funeral. You know, you just like you throw this baseball player in a song, you're forever connected to him. And he was from Jersey, so I guess he liked the Yankees. And oh, you'll even find a video of Paul Simon Art Garfunkel a few years ago eating popcorn or something at a Yankees game. So I guess they're buds again. But they declined and they filmed this video. And surprisingly, I actually found a clip here. So let's see if I can do this right the second time. Share screen, share sound. There we go. Can you see this?
I can.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Henry Mancini.
Henry Mancini. Man, look at the quality of this video.
Thank you very much. It's a great privilege to have been asked to present the Grammy Award for the Record of the Year. This is the big one we've all waited for. We've seen the 5 nominees: the Beatles for Hey Jude, Glenn
Wow.
Campbell for Wichita Lineman,
Dang.
Bobby Goldsboro for Honey,
Who?
Jeannie C. Riley for Harper Valley PTA,
It's a great song.
and Simon and Garfunkel for Mrs. Robinson.
What a
Now
lineup.
the time has come to see who
Wow.
wins the most cherished of all Grammy Awards. May I have the envelope, please? Why does there always have to be an envelope? Just once they should put the winner's name in a fortune cookie. The winner of the Record of the Year is
Good point.
Simon and Garfunkel for Mrs. Robinson.
5'3". It's almost as tall as that bat.
I do really want to thank the NARIS membership for this award, and I want to accept it on behalf of Roy Halley, our recording engineer, and my best friend Paul Simon, who wouldn't wear a tuxedo today.
Yeah. So Paul Simon, you know. Okay, hold on. We got Luke the Body here with some more facts, some more hot facts. Paul Simon said Mickey Mantle was his real baseball hero, but Joe DiMaggio sounded better. Yeah, and the rhyme scheme, the syllables. That's in one of the interviews that I saw too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Someone, I think it was Dick Cavett, was like, why Joe DiMaggio? And he's like, it worked. It was the right amount of syllables and the right amount. It just worked. You know, sometimes songs are just songs. They don't have to be, you know.
It's kind of like in that U2 song "In the Name of Love," where they talk about when Martin Luther King was assassinated, which, by the way, happened the month that we're talking about.
Yeah.
They famously say early morning, April 4th, which was not when it happened. It happened in the afternoon. But anyway,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
they're
there
like,
was
well,
a-
that just sounded better lyrically, you know. So it's like, yeah, you aren't making a documentary. Mickey Mantle wouldn't work in the rhyme scheme, and Joe DiMaggio sounds like a musical phrase as is, right? Like it has.
Yeah,
like
it just happens sometimes. There's a
yeah.
song from my band, and we were talking about a Denny's on 83rd Street. And it was actually on 83rd Avenue. So, you know, deal with it. So yeah, let's see other sort of notable things here in 1992. Let's see if I can find this. Do I have this right? Share audio. Computer audio. Okay.
I'm hearing it.
1992, this came out. This version. You know this version? The Lemonheads, people.
Mr. Evan Dando.
Mr. Evan Dando. So Evan Dando put this out in 1992. 1992 was 25 years after the release of The Graduate, so that's what this song was recorded for. And Evan Dando told the American songwriter that he hated the song and its author. So Evan Dando's pretty tall, right?
I think
He's-
Evan Dando's a real tall.
He's a real tall guy, hating on the short king. Paul Simon was not a fan. And he also noted that Simon himself greatly disliked Evan's cover, the Lemonheads cover, and Garfunkel, being the cool, just chill dude that he is, actually did like it. He's like, I think it's cool. Paul Simon can, you know, suck a lemon or something. And guess who else covered this song? a few years later.
Uh,
Everyone's favorite band. I bet Loot the Body knows because he knows everything. Loot, any idea? Who's 6'4"? Oh, Evan Dando's 6'4". Dang, Evan Dando's tall.
that's a tall dude.
That's tall. Okay, here we go.
Who?
Here-
all right.
Here's a little spoiler alert.
I figured it out.
Man, gotta love that
Double neck ovation.
double neck ovation that sounds exactly like a double neck ovation.
Why does Bon Jovi always sound like that?
Like,
I
why do
don't
they have
know.
to have that stupid, like, cutesy? God, they suck so bad. I hate Bon Jovi so much. Other Jersey boys.
God bless you, please, Mrs. Robinson.
Mrs. Robinson.
The place for those who pray. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey.
Oh, those guitars sound so bad.
Can we add a double neck ovation to our list of album titles or band names?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that
Okay.
sucked.
Oh, I can't get rid of this now. It's still playing forever for all time. Here we
It's
go.
not- it's never gonna stop. Bon
Please
Jovi is
die.
one of those. Bon Jovi is one of those bands where I have like kind of like a soft spot for almost all music in a weird way. I know that sounds like goofy, but I mean, I can
Just
sort
not Bon
of see-
Jovi.
I don't feel anything for those guys. They suck. I've always thought they sucked, and
They do suck
And I think I always will think they suck.
because they just do suck. Let's hear it in the chat. Does anybody here actually like Bon Jovi?
I'm seeing.
I think Bon Jovi. Something happened there. Maybe they stumbled on something with the government, and they're like, "Look, we're gonna." I don't know. Like they know some trade secret or something, and they were given. They were just allowed to exist, even though they shouldn't.
They're
What
part
is
of
it
a-
about Bon Jovi? Is it
They're
just?
part of a psyop. It's like they're
Yeah, because I don't know a single person. I know a lot of people, okay, especially a lot of people that listen to music, and I don't know anybody that likes Bon Jovi. No one. No one has ever been like, you know what? Have you ever heard this Bon Jovi song? It's pretty good.
they
Has
press
anyone
play.
ever said that to you?
It's my life. I just wanna. Yeah, no.
Yeah, I
think
don't like
so.
Guns N' Roses either, but at least
You
I
would
don't like
have to
Guns N'
pick-
Roses. But if I had to pick, I would definitely pick Guns N' Roses any day, any
Yeah.
day,
Yeah, no doubt about it. Wow.
any day.
Wow. I'm not seeing love for Bon Jovi here in the
Yeah,
chat.
no-
I think the chat's down on Jove.
80s Housewives. Yeah, I guess that's what it is. People just, I think, is that it? Like, just 80s Housewives were just hot on
Yeah,
JB.
he's like a rock star, but he
Is
doesn't
there because
seem-
there's no H in his name, and they're just like, wow, he's so edgy.
he doesn't seem that scary though. That's his thing. He's like a rocker, but just barely. Mostly he's kind of cheesy. A little soft.
Yeah,
Anyway.
yeah. I mean, he had the hair. He's also pretty short. How someone looked that up? How short is Bon Jovi? John Bon Jovi. He's a pretty short guy. Not to talk shit on the short guys, but I'm just saying.
Are you saying that there's like a direct correlation between how bad one's music sucks and your height? Is that what you're saying?
If
Are you
you're from
suggesting that?
Jersey, if you're from Jersey,
If you're from, so I don't have to worry about that.
you don't have to worry about it. You're not from Jersey. You're
good.
from Coolidge. Coolidge. You're from
Yeah.
Coolidge.
I'm from Coolidge, man.
Ew.
While we wait for Bon Jovi's height, he's 5'9", so he's taller than
Wow.
me.
So he's as tall as
He's as
Art
tall as Art
Garfunkel.
Garfunkel, who we previously assumed.
First of
was a
all,
very
I got to
tall
say,
man.
I don't even believe that Bon Jovi's 5'9". That's not even right. That's some fake Wikipedia nonsense. There's no way that I want answers.
Ma'am says I choose Extreme. Extreme, another band that has come up on Click Vortex.
What's
Talked
the
about-
dude's name? We talked about what's his face?
It's not Nino. Is it Nino Betancourt?
Betancourt. Yeah, Nino Betancourt.
So there's this guy on YouTube. I look at YouTube a lot, to see what kind of music things are doing well on YouTube. And there's this guy, this Rick Beato guy. Have you got served his stuff? He's like the
Rick
older
Beato,
dude.
no, but hi to my daughter Lola, who's in the chat looking for attention with emojis. Okay, so anyway,
Nuno
Rick Beato.
Betancourt. Loot the body just dropped in with Nuno Betancourt. Which
There we go.
We said Nino.
We got
but
there eventually.
we
We
were
said
close.
Nino.
We were close. Nuno Betancourt, but Nuno was on this Rick Beato guy's show, and they were talking about stuff, and somehow Nuno Betancourt still looks like you might think he would. Like I'm not saying he's like super cool looking, in my opinion, but he kind of has just like a.
He's still in his prime.
He's got kind of like a rocker vibe.
Yeah.
Unless I'm making this up, I don't think I am.
I don't think you're making it up. It sounds right. I believe you.
There
I
it
believe
is.
that more than I believe that Bon Jovi's
Oh.
5'9".
Okay, so it's not that recent, but it is from this year in May. This Rick Beato guy talked.
It's pretty recent.
So anyway, yeah. But no, I don't like John Bon Jovi, and I don't like that whole crew. So. Yep, and then you go. Loot the Body says, "Bro is Portuguese," regarding Nuno, of course, and he's been Rihanna's guitarist, which we did know when we.
He's a shredder, and Nuno's only 5'8". Wow.
There you go. That's a good. I guess it's a good height. The Nuno talk is on the episode we did with our buddy Nick Reinhardt, and we talked a lot about Harmony Korine, who did a.
I just listened to that actually. It was on the if you go to stream.wastoids.com, there's a 24/7 stream, our sound system. There's a little chat there too if you want to talk in there. But every once in a while I'll put that on, and I just listened to that Nick episode and was reminded how great that Charlotte Catherdy album is, and I listened to that.
Really
so
good.
I mean, it's like he's right. It's like absurd actually. The first few tracks in particular on that one go weird stuff. Yeah. Anyway, that's it. I'm done.
All right.
You're up.
Occasionally,
You're up, buddy.
I'm up. Can you hear me? Okay. Am I back?
Oh yeah, you're back. Did you ever leave? You never left.
I got this weird the little mic thing. It does a little cutout sometimes if it leans the wrong way. But it's just for me hearing it, not you guys.
Prince was only 5'2". Yay.
Yeah, I know.
Dang.
Other short, just while we're on the topic of short kings, Ben Queller, very short.
Yeah, I remember that.
I know.
Which is funny because I used to think Ben Queller was tall for some reason. I think it's because there's that record cover where he's standing with a wolf.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like an upshot. He is taller than Wolf, but it's also just the way it's intentionally shot, kind of like looking up at him, and makes him seem like he's really tall.
Not to mention,
I played a show with him once, and I was like, "Oh, hey, buddy."
Not to mention, he's wearing real high pants. I feel like he's got a high waist for dude jeans. But
do we have any musicians that are in the 4s?
Does Danny DeVito?
Does Danny DeVito count? Does he play guitar?
Does anybody know if Danny DeVito plays
guitar? Bruno Mars is short. Yeah, Marky Mark is short. See, Marky Mark's kind of he's also from Jersey, I think, right? Or no, he's from Boston. That's right. Never mind. Take that back. I was going to say he's got a little bit of that like attitudinal situation going on.
He's got a lot of attitude. And he's certainly
just a little bit.
Yeah.
Very regimented guy. All right. Anyway, your turn. What do you got?
Okay. April 1968. Let's take we're
bring it on
back. Just a couple records I wanted to note as we're cruising through. The Pentangle put out a great record that year. I don't know if you've ever listened to them. On the Brit folk side, very, very good. Put out a record that month, I mean. Dance to the Music, Sly and the Family Stone, very, very good album.
Yep.
The Temptations, Wish It Would Rain. Both of those last two, cool psychedelic soul. Everything's a little psychedelic at this point, right?
Yeah. It's 68. We're getting late 60s. Things are getting trippy.
Things are very flower power, a lot of paisley patterns, all that stuff. Speaking
the
of
war's
Prince,
in full effect.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's pretty lame part. Who else came out? Odyssey and Oracle, of course, as we've touched on. The Monkees, the Birds, the Bees, and the Monkees. 1968 was a rough year for the Monkees, though.
It was.
The show got canceled. The show, which premiered on this day, by the way, not in April of 1968, but premiered on this day. The show got canceled. Their great movie Head, which I think is like a genius film.
In retrospect, it's looking back, it's a very, very great one. Wasn't really well received at the time.
No, horribly received. Was kind of a flop. But so the Monkees were essentially kind of like on the skids in 1968, but they put out this record, The Birds, the Bees, and the Monkees, and guess what? It does really well. People still like when the Monkees made records. So that was sort of they really wanted some power, and they wanted to
when they start actually playing their own stuff, writing their own songs. They take the reins.
Yeah, and it's a great one. Another really interesting record that came out that month, the very first Randy Newman record, and I wanted to ask you how you feel about Randy Newman.
Oh
What's your
man,
take on Randy?
I love Randy Newman. So that's just the self-titled Randy Newman album. Is that what
That's
that
right.
one is? It's
Yeah.
just a close-up picture of his face. It's kind of reddish.
Uh-huh.
Is that what
Uh
that record is?
yeah, it's a really bad, it's kind of a bad album. It's not very flattering is what I mean to say.
Right.
But
I like Randy. I like early Randy Newman.
yeah.
I would say I got more into Randy Newman through Harry Nilsson,
Yeah,
through
of
the
course.
Nilsson Sings Newman. Like I knew of Randy Newman, but I kind of knew of him in sort of the comical way that people know Randy Newman, that he just, his songs are kind of goofy, and the Randy Newman of today, I guess we should say.
Randy
Um,
Newman who's yeah. Here, I'm going to try to Can you see? Can you see this?
yeah, yes.
This is Randy doing I think it's going to rain today, which is
Oh, I was thinking of Sail Away, the album cover. But yeah, this is a great record. This album is where most of those Nilsson Sings Newman songs came from.
That's
Was from
right.
this. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. No, it's a really good one. And so Randy Newman is a guy whose records mean an awful lot to me. This one has the song I Think He's Hiding on it, which I really, really like.
Yep.
And I got into Randy Newman in a weird way. I mean, like a lot of people my age, I probably first spent a lot of time with Randy Newman thanks to the Toy Story soundtrack,
Sure.
which definitely imparted a thought. I thought that's what Randy Newman's deal is. But when I got a little bit older, one of my favorite songwriters, David Bazan from Pedro the Lion, he did a Randy Newman cover of Political Science, and that sent me sort of down the rabbit hole with Randy, the Randy hole, and
The Randy.
and I
It's not about the Randy Hole.
I'm a huge fan of Randy Newman, and I think people like and then Nia says Randy Newman has a song about short people. It all together.
That he
It's
does.
all tied together. What's that song called? No, I'm just kidding. Um, I think Randy's great, but his voice he gets made fun of by some people. They think he's got kind of a dopey, weird voice. But
Well, because
I love it.
he got a little turned into a bit of a character of himself.
As it as it goes on. Oh, Decoy mentions Can started around 68. Yeah, I am a huge
Oh
Can
yeah.
fan. We'll have to do just like an all cosmic German or krautrock as they call it episode. I think krautrock might be an offensive term, but what can you do? But yeah, so Randy Newman, I wanted to note on that. Huge fan of Randy and that whole world. Randy Newman, Harry Nilsson, Van Dyke Parks, just like incredible trio of weirdos recording for major labels and
Yeah.
doing a really unique and interesting thing. Another record that came out that month that is insanely interesting to me is God Bless Tiny Tim by Tiny Tim. In fact, I think when we said something about April 1968, that was my first thing I said was, oh, we'll get to talk about Tiny Tim. Tiny Tim is one of rock and roll's true freaks. And I mean that not in a derogatory sense, although also sort of in a derogatory sense, because not only was he tall, very tall, and weird and sang in a kind of weird, affected, effeminate voice, but he was also apparently one of the most unpleasant people anybody has ever had to deal with. Extremely creepy, lurid, obsessed with women. And anyway, I didn't know this, but Tiny Tim had sort of a resurgence as a fairly frequent guest on the Howard Stern show in the 90s. Were you into Stern at that point?
I think no. I mean, I was a little bit, but not enough. My first, yeah, I would say I sort of got into the Stern show because of when it was on the E network. So I would see it
Okay.
sometimes if there was nothing on, I would watch it. And then also The Edge in Phoenix started syndicating the show.
Right.
That's when I really listened to it, because my tape player was broken in I had a 68 Chrysler New Yorker. And so I lived in the West Valley, and I drove to downtown Phoenix every day for work for a while when I worked for my dad, and I would listen to Howard Stern every morning when I was doing
Right.
that. So, but I know that there was a Tiny Tim thing just from sort of being a fan of that show later on, but I did not catch it live at the time.
Well, here's a little clip of Tiny Tim on Stern and
That's just for washing your hands.
That's the rear end. Inside.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with soap and water.
Right.
And then I will also cleanse with creams in there because that will also cleanse the area. Then when it's clean, and this is very, very important, then when it's clean.
I don't want to miss this.
When the hemorrhoids are gone.
Go ahead.
I still use.
Right.
I still use I either use Preparation H in the green
Really
tube,
popping
not
those
the other
Ps on
ones.
the-
Right.
In the new green tube
Boy,
with the green
he's
letter.
tried everything, yeah.
Or Anusol is excellent,
Right.
or something called Pazo, P-A-Z-O.
And you apply that with the hand?
Very gently, yes.
Yes.
Even I don't have them anymore, and I still apply them.
Just as a precaution.
That's right.
Really?
Like
Is
a
that
shin
right?
cream.
Yeah. So anyway, that's Tiny Tim live on the air with Howard Stern detailing his hygiene regimen. Stern loved him. That clip, which you can find in full on YouTube, begins with him immediately calling Robin by the wrong name. He calls her Robin Givens. Which
Oh, no.
at which point Stern goes into hawking
There's another,
a book that she wrote.
and probably about another short king, Mike Tyson,
Yeah.
if I had to
Anyway,
guess.
So that's Tiny Tim, truly one of the weirdest, like rock, like people in that world, kind of like a you might call him like a novelty artist to some degree, but bizarrely fascinating. And Stern is one of those guys who I never really cared all that much about Stern. I still don't to a huge degree, but you watch that old stuff and you can really see how much his show has changed, right? From back then when it was pretty.
Oh yeah, I mean he's mellowed out a lot.
He's mellowed out. You can do that as you get older.
Yeah.
You can grow.
There's so much going on in the chat right now too. Are you paying attention to
Oh,
the chat?
now I can hang on. Okay.
Yeah.
So we got Bro was a fake short king, called himself tiny, but he was like 6'1". WTF. Good point, Loot the Body. I want to just point out before we get into this next part, which is absolutely insane from Decoy, is that back when we were talking about Simon and Garfunkel, Loot the Body shouted out the Simon and Garfunkel jam America. I agree. America is a really good song. Do you know that one, Sam?
Yeah.
I especially like, and this is for Decoy, the Yes cover of it. Yes's cover of America is really, really good. Meanwhile,
Yeah. Tom. Well, I also want to say Tommy mentioned the MLK assassination. I had that one of my notes too. It's a rabbit hole I almost went down, but there just wasn't a ton there, and it was kind of depressing. But
right.
Nina Simone had a really great performance in April of '68 after that happened at the Westbury Music Fair. So
Yeah.
go find that.
Nina
Good stuff
Simone,
there.
one of the all-time greats. Our show tends to get silly, so I thought we don't want to be too,
It's
dismissive.
sad.
It's obviously it's tremendous,
Incredibly sad.
incredibly sad. One of the dark shifts our country took towards its current state of awfulness. But I wanted to. So Tiny, absolutely a fake short king, but apparently Decoy says my grandpa and Tiny Tim used to gamble together when I was a kid, like
Really?
a lot. I would not be comfortable around Tiny Tim were I a kid. But what do I know?
What were Decoy? What were they?
What was
What
their
were they
game?
playing? What was their game? Yeah, I'm curious. I wonder if it was poker, blackjack,
Probably some
dice.
weird. It's got to be some weird, obscure one that nobody's too sure of.
They were just playing bridge for
Tiny-
high stakes bridge.
But Tiny Tim, absolutely kind of a creep, but strangely was popular and kind of in the league with people like Zappa and Captain Beefheart, viewed as like a curiosity. But yeah, I did have a friend, Craps, I think is what Decoy thinks.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, no, sounds good. Yeah, there's another record that came out that while we're talking about people who maybe suck, I want to bring up one more before we
Pink Floyd? Oh no,
Oh well, so
that was another note.
we've talked about Pink Floyd, I think, often enough.
Yeah.
So I wanted to try something else out here, and this is here we go. Pretty loud.
So loud.
So do you know who this is here that we're looking at?
I believe it's Amboy Dukes.
You can tell it's Amboy Dukes because the file is titled Amboy Dukes.
It was kind of a dead giveaway there.
But that guy on guitar is one Tedrick.
The Nuge. The Nuge.
The Nuge.
You recognize that weird dirt stash anywhere.
Okay, so get ready though. This is the part
Got some
right
good.
here.
Oh,
Watch what he does. Okay, so
listen,
just
he's
that.
got some. He's got some really good fuzz going on there. So that was the last episode. Was fuzz. He's got some good fuzz going on, not only on his face, but he's got some good fuzz going on that guitar. Some pretty seriously good fuzz for a Nuge.
Journey to the Center of Your Mind by the Amboy Dukes. Ted Nugent sucks beyond belief. Ted Nugent is one of the worst dudes, but he shreds. There's no getting around it.
Yeah.
Fugazi, Ian MacKaye, huge Nuge fan. Henry Rollins, huge Nuge fan in terms of just those riffs. But man, some pretty gnarly fuzz there. That song's kind of goofy. The Journey to the Center of Your Mind. It's like very like, as we were talking about
funny.
Flower Power, you know, sort of like, oh, we got to write something for these hippies.
There's so many songs like that in the 60s that have these like incredible bridges or like just weird parts, but then it just kicks into like the dumbest song of all time.
Yeah, that's kind of the
Very
vibe.
common.
But that solo shreds, obviously.
Yeah, and that tone. I mean, how good is that tone considering how horrible the rest of the song is?
Yeah, exactly. But I love that one. Featured in Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, a movie I really liked.
So was something else wasn't.
Do we have one of the zombies? Were one of the zombie songs featured in there? Or
No, it's Mrs. Robinson was featured because
There
there's
you
a
go.
scene where the Brad Pitt. It's another homage to it. A scene where Brad Pitt sees a younger girl and starts playing Mrs. Robinson in the background.
There you go. That's a good movie. Good soundtrack. So those were all just little 1968 things I wanted to touch on. But now, okay, yeah, Loot the Body. The Nuggets compilation is all about that. Lenny Kaye's Nuggets compilation, which turned 50 fairly recently, one of the seminal all-time great rock and roll compilations. Just really probably in the top 5 for me. Nuggets is the perfect introduction to garage rock. It's really all you need. It's better than most albums.
Yeah.
Love it. And Amboy Dukes featured, yeah. But here's where we get into my actual proper click, which was that one record that was released that month, and it's the one that I ended up finding the most interesting stuff about, was the San Francisco band Moby Grape released an album called it's called damn it, where did I put it? Oh yeah, okay.
And you went super obscure.
Moby Grape.
What do you got to say about that, Loot the Body?
No, he's gonna.
What do you got on
Moby
Moby Grape?
Oh, I just made an unfortunate. I just assumed that Loot the Body is identifies as a male, and if that's not the case, I apologize. But most of the time that people are shouting obscure 60s facts at me, they are, males for the most.
They're
part.
usually your drummer.
They're usually my drummer yelling at me. But no, Loot the Body might have some Moby Grape stuff. Moby Grape, though, San Francisco band, and they put out, and this is what I was really psyched about, Sam, because this is the sort of thing that's so confusing and so difficult for anybody to wrap their heads around why they chose to do this, that I thought that sounds like what Sam and I are always doing, which is making something sort of inscrutable, and people go, why did you do it that way? They put out a record called Wow/Grape Jam. It's their second album, but what it is 2 different albums packaged together. So you could almost say it's like their second and third album. It was released as just one package, and for only $1 more than a standard vinyl.
Hey, there you go.
Kind of cool.
That is cool. They need to bring that back. They used to do that, especially in the CD.
Oh yeah,
there's that came back with the CDs. We get a couple albums on one CD. It was kind of fun. I like that.
Skip Spence. Here, see Loot the Body dropping in with Skip Spence. Skip Spence was one of the sort of leaders of Moby Grape, along with Bob Mosley. They Skip Spence and Bob both ended up suffering from mental illness, and the band broke up pretty early on. Skip went on to make one of the sort of great cult records, up there with Sid Barrett, I would say. The Madcap Laughs. His is called Ore, and it's a very skeletal and scary at times kind of folk record. Very, very cool. Very cool. But Moby Grape, very interesting. And what's interesting about this particular record was they decided to throw everything out the window, and they embraced all sorts of experimental techniques. They jammed a ton. They were all over the map. They didn't lock in the songs very well. All of that stuff. Dropping in musique concrète. There's some sort of a Revolution Number 9 style thing where they took a poem that somebody had sent, recording one of their fans had sent them of a poem, and they like smashed it up with a bunch of weird noises, and they called that
Nice.
The Lake and put it on there. But what is especially cool is that Wow's side 1 ended with another groove. You had to move the needle to a separate groove.
Okay. So like
which-
locked up the groove and then
So it was a locked
Had to-
groove,
okay.
and it was pitched at 78 RPM. So
Oh, that's cool.
so
That's
it's-
fun.
So it's a 33 that has a whole separate groove that's at 78, and you had to turn your table down. So a couple things that are interesting about this, and that was for a song called Just Like Gene Autry, A Foxtrot, which was that song. And what's great, I went to go look for it, and it's not streaming, but YouTube is a fascinating place, is it not?
It is.
And,
It has everything.
and here's where we're gonna go. I'm gonna pull. Let me get this semi ready to go so I can share it with you. YouTube rules. I'm very thankful for YouTube, and let's get this. You're just seeing the whole. Anyway, here you go.
And now, emanating from the Secaucus Lounge of the fabulous Fandango Hotel in Weehawken, New Jersey, we proudly present the celestial melodies of Lou Waxman and his orchestra, who ask the age-old musical question, I would love to love you.
So if you notice here, we've got an Argent record off to the side here.
Yes.
Tying things together completely unintentionally. This is the cover here of Moby Grape's.
I like that art.
But here's what I love. Look at this incredible setup. We've got this little
setup
lava
is
lamp
great.
here.
Is this Mam's house?
Yeah,
I think this might be Miranda's house. Is this
looks
Tommy?
So,
This is Tommy's YouTube channel?
If this is Tommy's YouTube channel, then we just solved the mystery. But I thought that was just like so cool. So what that is our YouTube user Dusty Grooves 69, and Dusty Grooves 69 has uploaded dozens and dozens of needle drops just like that, with his lava lamp and his setup and the cool star background. That one that we were just looking at, it's got like 35 views, and this is
Not after this episode. It's going to have 38 views.
I mean, I've
Let's get those numbers up, people.
I've contributed a few, but I just started thinking about like how fortunate we are, right? It's easy to get like down about the fact that the record labels that are in charge of all this stuff have let stuff fall out of circulation, or
Yeah.
some shitty royalty deal means they can't put it on the streaming sites or whatever. But thankfully, we have people like Dusty Grooves 69 out there, not worried about the clout, not chasing anything, not giving a
He's
shit
just
really.
doing it. He's doing it for the grapes, man.
He's just doing it because he thought that this would be cool if I put this up here, and that if anybody was looking for it, they could figure it out. So my click centers on the fact that one other thing. There's a song on the record called Never, by the way, the Moby Grape, that Led Zeppelin ripped off for
Ripped
since
off?
I've been
Yeah.
since I've been loving you. As
Yeah,
as it
that
would
checks
come
out.
as it would come as no surprise. Shameless Thieves, Led Zeppelin, a band I really do adore. They loved ripping off other people, being it.
They sure
you
did.
know, whatever. Spirit, Robert Johnson, it turns out Moby Grape. They're just going to rip off like nobody's business. But what you hear there
And Led
is-
Zeppelin was really good at ripping off, like, the little guy.
yeah, I mean,
Like finding the weird records that maybe, although I guess as Loot the Body said, back they're obscure now, but back in the day they were real. They're kind of hip.
yeah, Moby
right.
Grape were real hip, and people, I mean, the Dead and Jefferson Airplane might have been like more well known from that scene, but
Lots
if
going on in San Francisco in '68.
If Moby Grape had been able to hold it together, who knows? Maybe, but so who you hear sampled in that 78 needle drop is this guy named Arthur Godfrey. Have you ever heard of Arthur Godfrey?
I don't think so.
Well, I certainly hadn't. He lived from August 31st, 1903 to March 6th, 1983. But he was this American broadcaster. He was on the radio. He made the transition to television. His nickname was the Old Redhead, which I find hilarious. But he had a bunch of different shows. He had the Arthur Godfrey Digest. He had Arthur Godfrey and Friends, Arthur Godfrey's Talent Scouts, Arthur Godfrey Time. He had just all the round table. This dude was like broadcasting every 5 minutes. He was like
It's basically the
YouTuber of it.
wastoids, the wastoids of the day.
Yeah, but they're all named for him. But he was doing like all this stuff.
He was the original TikToker.
He was the original TikToker. He'd get out his ukulele, he'd play stuff. He was known for all of this showmanship. He had this like real friendly demeanor. He was everybody's favorite broadcaster. He did do some interesting things. In 1953, he had this really popular singer working with him named Julius LaRosa, and Julius decided that he was going to get his own manager. Big mistake in Arthur's. So he had him come on and sing a song, and when LaRosa finished the song, he said, everybody please give him a round of applause. That's his swan song here on the show. He will no longer be appearing. Had no clue this was going to happen. So he basically fired a guy live on television, and it soured his reputation. There's other stuff too. Anybody who was around that long certainly would have caused some weird things. One of his big sponsors was Chesterfield cigarettes, and his slogan was "Buy 'em by the carton." However, he decided to quit smoking and was diagnosed with lung cancer. But anyway, he went on and he talked shit about the sponsors and was like, you shouldn't buy cigarettes, they're bad for you, and kind of took a bold stand, which I thought was interesting. But the main reason I'm bringing this up is because this led me to another YouTube link, and this one also had like 30 shares.
Nice.
And let me share the screen here so you can get a sense of what I'm talking about. And it's their full screen. Nope, you're not hearing that.
Nope.
How about now?
Yep. Oh, cool. Now we went to real. We went from a record player to a.
I don't care what radio station you would have in this country, and I don't care what day you might choose. If you were to listen to that station for the entire broadcast day, you would find things on there that are not of interest to you.
Okay.
That are some things that are tremendously exciting and
I'll
very,
explain
very
what this is in a
very
second, but let's
entertaining,
just-
and other things that are absolutely boring. That are totally uninteresting and otherwise unappetizing. So this
I'm assuming this
broadcast
guy's
day,
talking
as
trash.
we presented over the next 7 weeks, is going to have all those elements into it. They're going to have things that you're going to say as a listener to this, oh my gosh, I can't, this is bad.
This is what
or
I
you're gonna
fear
say, wow,
people
this
are
is really
saying
good.
about Click Vortex.
But we've decided
it
that
is.
in the interests of history,
Mm-hmm.
in the interests of our interest in old-time radio, and in the interest of those tapeworms out there in Radio Land who say this is a fine opportunity to get a slice of history for ourselves, we're presenting the whole broadcast day. So you
anyway,
have to bear with.
I'll cut it off there. But I love that we've got this this is just a guy basically warning you at the start of this video that what you're about to hear sucks and that it's a waste of your time.
That's
what
great.
it is, though,
we should definitely have that disclaimer at the beginning of every show after the
he goes on for a while, and he even says, he's like, I'm not trying to dissuade you from listening. But anyway, what I found was this is a YouTube page called Vintage Recordings, and it's the same reel-to-reel, and that just happens to be a full day of a radio broadcast. Just everything that radio station aired that whole day. A bunch of them being Arthur Godfrey programs, his show Sundial. And so, but anyway, I was less interested in the Arthur Godfrey stuff because it's kind of boring and just snoozy and whatever. And Moby Grape probably sampled him because that was square and goofy to do or whatever. But this Vintage Recordings page has so many videos, and they're all just like that. And I went to their About Me, and I just loved it. Here it is. Vintage Recordings, About Me. My dad found a few tubs of tapes on Craigslist, so I decided to digitize and upload them to YouTube. Enjoy.
Super cool.
And that's all I'm getting at is this stuff would be lost to history if it weren't for these brave, intrepid
thank you
people.
to the internet archivists.
These internet archivists who aren't getting paid. He even goes on to say in the and we'll link, of course, to this and to Dusty Grooves 69 here at YouTube, and we highly recommend checking them out. But I don't know. I was really kind of psyched to see somebody doing this sort of thing, just because they cared enough to do it. And that it was curious enough that should somebody find themselves falling down a rabbit hole, they could go back and listen to hours and hours of radio from bygone days. And
that's cool.
Throwing it out to the archivists. Thank you for.
I love a couple nights ago I spent a couple hours reading old Maximum Rock and Roll issues. Every single one of them is on the Internet Archive. It's pretty awesome. I love people that do that.
I think it's great. And Loot the Body, of course, bringing things around. Robert Plant is a huge fan of the San Francisco scene. He covered 805 by Moby Grape, so there you go. He definitely likes Moby Grape. And also says the intro to the Monkees, Don't Call on Me from Pisces Aquarius.
Wow.
Also
Nice.
copies that Arthur Godfrey intro asking that musical question. So there you go. All ties together.
Yeah.
Moby Grape, bizarre. More bands should put 78 grooves into their 33s and 33s into their 45s, and let's just blow up all the formats and release 5 albums on one package. I don't know. That's where I'm at with this.
I like it.
Yeah. So there we go. 1968.
Dang.
Still
and
alive.
How tall was Arthur Godfrey? Did we get clarification
let's
on
see
that?
if we can find out how tall Arthur was. Arthur Godfrey a short king?
Because Gilbert Godfrey was pretty short.
I'm looking at his YouTube, and it does not say his height. Is that normally included in there?
It should be. If it's not,
he had 3 kids.
Should be.
He was born in Manhattan, New York, and he died in Manhattan, New York. Arthur Morton Leo Godfrey. Yeah, and he was accused of anti-Semitism at one point. So, boo to that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1968.
April.
To the archivist.
April 1968.
April 1968. And that's going to conclude my clicks.
Wow, good clicks. Good clicks there. Man.
Loot the Body, you win listener of the week, and of course everybody else comes in tied for listener of the week as well. But Loot the Body really brought some heat this time. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thanks for all the assists there, and especially on mine. Yeah, you're right. You were in my brain on that one, Loot.
And of course to all Anita and Mam and Bert, all the means and means associated crew. Decoy. We got a great video going up on Friday. Decoy sat down with Frankie and the Witch Fingers.
Oh yeah, I watched. I forgot to tell you, I watched that edit. It's great.
It's fun. It's some fun
Yeah.
stuff. Decoy had a good time, and we enjoyed hanging out with them. So follow Wastoids if you're not already. I have to imagine that if you're listening, you are following Wastoids. But if not, check it out on Friday, which is Band Shirt Day. We'll have more information about Band Shirt Day
September
on
15th.
Band Shirt
Band
Day.
Shirt Day.
September 15th, and yeah, I'll keep you posted on which one I'm gonna wear. Sam, do you already know what shirt you're gonna wear?
Yeah, I'm gonna wear my Pavement fried egg shirt. I think
That's a good one.
my. Somebody asked me, and I had to decide quickly, and so now I'm sticking with it.
We've now got your height is now being discussed, Sam.
Oh, nice.
Your Wikipedia page does not include 6'1".
Oh well, somebody get on that. If anybody can edit Wikipedia pages, please add my height and please make me 6'5".
And if you somehow figure out a musician who is under 4 foot, as we discussed,
Under 5. I'd like to
under
know
5.
anybody in the 4s. Yes.
Anybody in the 4s, yeah.
Roy Orbison was tall, right? His name just popped up on this. I don't know. I feel like
Tall.
he was kind of tall.
I think Roy Orbison was tall. I actually don't know.
Tall was Roy Orbison. Oh, he was only 5'11". See, I thought Roy. It's so funny. You just think these people. Some people are just so tall.
Because they're giants in our mind.
Yeah, it's true.
And in our mythology.
His voice is just so.
His voice is huge. Yep.
All right. Well, hey.
We're gonna
Bye.
do it.
We done?
I think
We
we're done
here.
Thanks for hanging out, everybody.
Yeah, thank
Follow
you.
us on Wastoids.
Yes, we'll see you in a couple weeks.